Hello Squeakers, I'm Ray Mouse, and welcome back to the sad story of Emmaline Burns. We're back with Emily and Cornelia. I'm doing some stuff. I forgot what it was. I think it was, okay, anyway. Emmy, stop that. Cornelia kicked and squealed, pushed back against the ground by Emmeline's sudden siege, but it was no avail. Emmeline had the element of surprise on her side, and she had taken a clear advantage. Cornelia blinked up at Emmeline, squirming like a hooked fish as Emmeline sat astride her. Skirts wrecked up her thighs, her fingers trailing lines along Cornelia's prone body, beneath her chin, under her arms, against her sides. Was there any other tactic more vicious, more wicked, more devious than that of tickling? And this was not just any tickling, oh no. This was extreme tickling. That would surely end in bloodshed. Emmy, stop! Get off of me! Cornelia implored breathlessly, choking the words from between her pursed lips. But the indomitable Emmeline remained unmoved. No, I will not. Not until you recant what you said. That you are like Aubrey? Indeed, admit it would be nothing more than a lie, and I may spare your life. No, never. I stand by my word. Then I will stand by my actions. I will not stop until you surrender. Nellie, and I warn you, I can be very persuasive when I want to be. Her eyes hardening like the steel of a sword's blade, Emmeline dipped her head and began to press kisses against Cornelia's neck. Cornelia's dress had begun to slip down her shoulders, and there was a good deal of pale skin below. Skin on show, more than would have been deemed socially acceptable. You rogue, you would have attacked a helpless young girl. Only because this helpless young girl is attempting to defile my honor. So you would seek to defile me? Well, I wonder. Cornelia squealed as though she had been doused in water and redoubled her efforts to escape, but it was all in vain. Oh, that's pretty. The two girls continued to bicker playfully, giggling even as the warmth of the sun began to dissipate, and an unarmed... God, a chill settled into the air. Oh my gosh. At that moment, as the day drew to a close, the two girls may truly have believed, with their rumpled clothes and disordered hair and flustered cheeks, that this could last forever. Emmeline was dreaming, though she was not sure what it was exactly she was dreaming of. Her dreams were mostly comprised of vague shapes and distorted sound, as though she were viewing her own fantasy lands from behind frozen glass or through a fine film of water. Sometimes, however, she dreamt of Cornelia. She always knew she had dreamt of Cornelia, because when she woke it with a silly smile on her face and a soft flush across her cheeks. That was how she had realized she was in love. She was always thinking of Cornelia, even during the rare occasion when Cornelia was not beside her. Though Emmeline was only 14 and she did not fully understand what love was, she did not need to. Why trouble herself over the intricacies of the four-letter word when she could instead be doing things that made her happy? Those things being chiefly talking to Cornelia, braiding her hair, making her blush, and kissing her lips, her cheeks, her eyelids. Emmeline was not particularly picky. On this particular night, however, Emmeline did not awake to find sunlight streaming in through her window, half-formed remembrance of her love flitting through her mind. She did not wake during the morning at all. It must have been late at night, because it was pitch black in the bedroom and she could not hear any birds. It was earlier than 5 than she assumed, for she had no way of knowing if this was correct or not. It was so dark in her room she could not see the clock that hung on her wall, though she could hear its ticking. The first point she was aware of, other than the oppressive darkness, was that it was cold. The chill of winter was well and truly setting, and especially during the night, and she could no longer sleep with bare arms and light cover lit as she had done before. Her summer sleepwear had been packed away at the back of the wardrobe, and the maids now set her winter nightgowns on her bed before she went to sleep, complete with puff sleeves and high collars. The second thing Emmeline noticed, as her eyes slowly grew accustomed to the dark, was that she was not alone. There was somebody else in the room with her. It was none other than her father, Philip. Emmeline stared at her father with wide eyes. He looked back at her, and Emmeline could tell, despite the dark, that he was just as surprised, if not more, than she was. Had his face always looked so lined, his mouth so drawn? Perhaps the shadows were playing tricks with her eyes, but he looked far older than his 44 years. Emmeline swallowed. All of a sudden, her throat felt dry. Father, is something wrong? Nothing's wrong, Emmy. Nothing at all. But he did not look at her face, and he stuttered when he spoke. Why did he sound so frightened? Had something bad happened? Emmeline could not think of any other reason why he would be in her room at such an hour, looking so very tired. No, tired did not even begin to describe it. He looked haggard, as though on the brink of death, and his hands would not stop shaking even when he clenched them into fists. Emmeline sat up in bed, the covers falling about her body like a funeral shroud, and looked at her father with concern. It isn't Mother, is it? Is she sick? your mother, she's fine, Emmy. She should be sleeping now. Oh. A pause. Why are you not asleep, Father? Could you not? No, there's something I have to do. At this hour? Yes, it is of utmost importance. I don't imagine you would understand. Emmeline finished. Her father's voice was strangely hard, despite the nervous stammer, and she was not used to him talking to her in such a way. I doubt he's going to explain it to her. Maybe other girls' fathers spoke in such terse, clipped terms. Cornelia's father sometimes did when Beatrice wasn't there to chastise him. But not her father. Not Philip Burns. There was no warmth to his voice, no tenderness. It was as though he were speaking to a stranger rather than his dear daughter, his priceless jewel, his lovely little Emmeline. I may not understand what it is you wish to do, Father, but are you sure I cannot help? No, nobody can. But I appreciate the offer, Emmy, but it is too far too late. Her father swallowed. Emmeline could hear it sounded painful, as though he were attempting to choke down a lead bullet or a piece of steel shrapnel. I do not understand. If you do not believe I can help you, why do you come to my room? What is it you wish to discuss with me, Father? Oh, God. Philip's shoulders shook. It sounded like he was trying to stem a flow of oncoming tears, though he was not entirely successful. He bit down on his lower lip, but moisture still sparkled in the corners of his eyes, threatening to spill down his cheeks like April rain. If Grandmother Patience were here, she would have mocked him. She always had done that when Philip was a child. Perhaps that was why Philip never visited Grandmother Patience. She made him feel like a young boy again, small, stupid, and utterly insignificant. That was why Philip had gone into the banking, though he was not suited for such a cutthroat industry. He didn't have the knack for it. Never had done. Grandmother Patient had said as much, but he determined to prove her wrong. He wanted for once in his life to make her proud. And look what that had cost him. His wealth, his reputation, and now, worst of all, his family too. But there was no going back now. Father, are you all right? What's wrong? Emmeline, oh my dear Emmy, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I tried to be a good father, Emmy. I really did try. I wanted to be kind. I wanted to be fair. I had no intention of treating you like my parents treated me. But I was incapable of doing it. In the end, it all went wrong. I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I was succeeding, and for a while, maybe I was. Now, I realize that was a foolish fantasy dreamt by a foolish man. My mother was right. I should have been drowned when I was younger. It would have saved you all so much trouble. It would have made everything so much easier. Father? Emmeline got to her feet, her bare toes curling against the wooden floorboards, and took a few steps forward. Oh my god, her eyes are so pretty. I don't know, this art is so pretty. Are you not feeling well? We can call for the physician if you would like, if only you would sit down. Look how much you are trembling. No. Philip shook his head mechanically, back and forth like a tin soldier. His words spoken in an almost frenzied fervor. Oh my gosh. I need to pick up a book. Goodness gracious. Even though I read a Stephen King book, it was really good. Anyway, the physician cannot help now. Nothing can help. We're done for, Emmeline. You and I and your mother, too. This is it. This is the end. The end of what exactly? Our money is gone, Emmeline. I made a terrible mistake, and now everything is gone. The bubble burst, and we lost it all. Every single thing. Emmeline stared at her father, her mouth open. She did not even know what to say. What could she say? She was only 14 years old, and she had always been told by her mother that women had no place in the world of business. It was only natural, when they could not understand the facts and figures or tables or numbers. Beatrice Linton was the exception rather than the rule. Beatrice Linton could do anything. She could probably wrestle the bear to death with her own 2 hands if needs be, but Emmeline could not. She was only a young girl, standing in her bedroom in her winter nightgown, shivering like a leaf, and she did not know what to do. But she did not need to ponder her own powerlessness for much longer. I'm sorry, Emmy. I'm so sorry. I let you down. I'd let you down, and now this is the only thing I can do to make amends. Father, what are you... But Emmeline was not able to finish her question. That is because at that moment, Philip Burns closed the distance between them and held his... Oh, no. And held his hand around his daughter's throat. His fingers dug into her skin, and Emmeline could not breathe. First, it was a shock that drew the air out of her lungs. But then it was the pressure about her throat, choking her. She could hardly believe it. How could her father, who had never raised a hand to her in his life, who had never raised so much as his voice, even contemplate carrying out such a hideous action? But he was. He really was going to kill her. It's 'cause he's a coward. Emmaline felt herself growing faint. She wondered idly if dark purple bruises would be left around her throat when Philip let go. A fairy circle made of mushrooms. Her head swam. Her legs gave way beneath her, and she fell backwards onto her bed. Still, Philip's fingers did not budge. They remained upon her throat, fixated with the gruesome task they had been charged with. It was almost as though Philip Burns had split in two. One half remained focused on the murder of his dear daughter, his beloved Emmy, while the other, appalled at his actions, looked away with disgust. Maybe he should have poisoned her nightly mug of hot cocoa instead. Then he wouldn't have to bear witness to the look on her face as the life was slowly choked out of her tiny body. I'm sorry, Emmy. I'm so sorry. And he was too. His cheeks were wet with tears, and more tears kept falling. Some of them splashed against Emmeline's cheek, but this offering of remorse made little difference. Emmaline was still dying. She had been dying for around 2 minutes now, though it felt like it had been far longer, and her heart was already starting to stammer inside her chest. I am doing it for you, Emmy. It's for the greater good, I promise. I cannot stand the thought of my little girl going to the workhouse. I just couldn't. But Philip did not know what else to say. He doubted it would have made much of a difference. Emmaline stared up at the ceiling blankly, her eyes a vast sea of white, her mouth hanging open. Her arms and legs were limp, and though her body was warm, it did not move. It could not. Philip removed his hands from Emmeline's throat, but Emmaline did not stir. Her eyes remained open, unfixed, misty with death. Emmy, oh my Emmy, my little Emmy. With a choked sob, Philip pulled his dear little girl, who was now a very dead little girl, into his arms and wept. Freaking, what the hell? After that, Philip Burns killed himself. He set the house ablaze, then slit his throat with a knife. Torching the house may seem like something of a waste, but if he did not, he would not have been buried with his wife and child. He had to make it look like an accident. Of course, Emmaline was not there to witness that, but she found out in due time. And that is the end of the sad story of Emmaline Burns. Ooh, achievement. Oh, that's a sad achievement. I open and close my mouth, but no sound comes out. I don't know what to say. I had already suspected it. Vague speculations about her being an internet celebrity side, but I had no doubts left in my mind after hearing Emily's story. This girl is no Emily. I knew she was no Emily from the moment she introduced herself. Emmaline holds one hand at her throat, rubbing it gently as though nursing a cold. I wish he had not choked me. I imagine he did it because he thought it would be less violent than stabbing me, but it took so long to die. 3 whole minutes. Worst of all, I could still think during that time I could grieve. I could suffer. It gave me enough time to form regrets. Maybe that is why I could not die properly. Emily sighs, resting a hand against the top of her own gravestone. Unlike the ghosts in films, her hands do not pass through it. Instead, her fingers make contact, firm and solid, and I even see her shiver when the coldness of the stone penetrates her pale skin. Maybe Grandmother Patience was right. Father does not have the willpower required to see things through until the end, not even murder. I suppose I could congratulate him for trying, though he really did try. It hurt horribly. I opened my mouth once more, but I didn't know what to say. How can I reply to that? What must have felt like being betrayed so deeply by your own dad? I don't know, because I don't have one of my own. Of course, this isn't true in the strictest sense of the word. I am not a product of divine conception, and a human man did have a hand in my existence. I don't feel like I have had a dad, though. Mom never talks about him, and I never thought to ask. I know Mom doesn't like thinking about Saul Andrews, or that girl. Oh, or that git, as she calls him when she is in a charitable mood. She calls him far worse when she is not, and I don't like thinking about him either. I don't have much to think about it anyway. I've never met him before. I've only seen his face in photographs, and Mom threw most of those away. I can't say I blame her, even given how he treated or reacted to the news of her pregnancy. Apparently he tried to coerce her into having an abortion. When that didn't work, he turned tail and fled. Didn't even leave a note. What a git. I always thought I should hate Sal, but I don't even know him well enough for that. Instead, all I feel is an absence of feeling, really. Apathy. Now, I can't help wonder about who it was, even though I know making such a comparison is unfair. Is it Emmaline, whose dad loved her dearly to such an extent it wrung the life right out of her lungs? Or is it me, whose dad loved me so much, or loved me so little he ran away before I was born, never tried to talk to me? They're both bad in their own ways, and if Mom had bowed to Saul Andrews' wishes, I would be dead too. The fact remains, however, that I am not. Emmaline, meanwhile, is. Alright, screwers, that's all we have today. I'll see you next time in The Sad Story of Emmaline Burns. Goodbye.